My name's Thomas Lingard. I'm currently Global External Affairs Director at Unilever. I've been with Unilever for about 12 years, and for most of that time have been working on the CSR, sustainability and external affairs agendas, although I did spend 2 years as Deputy Director of the think tank Green Alliance in the UK. Well, I think it's really focused businesses in how they think about the issues. It has to be fully integrated into the commercial imperative, and that's certainly how we see it at Unilever. So when we have our Unilever Sustainable Living Plan, it's part of our corporate strategy. It's very much for us a growth agenda. It's about driving the innovation that will help us succeed in our growth markets, developing emerging markets particularly, where we see much of our growth coming from. And we know that those are parts of the world where they're feeling the resource crunches earlier and harder, and so the kinds of innovation that we can develop as a business will really serve consumers well in those markets. I think it has. I think it depends on different sectors and who asks the question and how you ask it. But I think businesses are increasingly interested in managing for long-term financial performance and not just managing the short term. And of course, long-term is what sustainability is about. So there is an increasing synergy with businesses which can succeed at raising their sights and looking at how do we create value over the long term, and then people saying, well, and how does the sustainability agenda relate to that? Well, I think obviously we're a consumer goods company, so the consumer is extremely important for us, and we do see a growing number, although still small number of consumers who are actively making purchasing decisions based on the environmental or social credentials of a product. It's a small number. We think it will grow over time, and we think it will grow as consumers become to understand more about the brands, about the companies behind the brands, and about the social and environmental challenges that the world's facing. I think it's very helpful that our customers, because obviously we make consumer products, but we sell them to the retailers like Tesco, Walmart, Carrefour and so on. And many now of the big global retailers also have ambitious sustainability plans of their own. And that's very helpful for us as they are our primary customer, and so through our own sustainability efforts, we feel we can work with them in deeper and more collaborative partnerships than we've been able to without that agenda. So that's a very important driver. I think innovation is a big driver for us. So we see products that have come through our innovation processes, our innovation funnels, which are meeting sustainability needs and then finding great success in the market. An example, Comfort One Rinse, for example, a type of fabric softener which can reduce the number of buckets of water you need when hand washing from 3 buckets to 1 bucket. So that's an environmental saving in the sense that it's much less water, but also in many of the markets where people wash by hand, they're also paying for water. So there is a direct consumer commercial incentive to use that product to save money. The targets within our Sustainable Living Plan are overall corporate kind of product portfolio targets. And so we're trying to achieve the reductions in environmental impact across the portfolio. Now, some products have much greater potential to have their environmental impact reduced than others, and so we have to go further in some places and less far in others, depending on what's possible. So we're looking at it at a portfolio level. Obviously, individual product managers and brand managers are looking at what they can do within their sphere of influence, but at a corporate level, we're looking at managing down the impact of the total portfolio. It's important to understand how the system works together. So there are some things we can do on our own, just as business through innovation. There are some things we can do collaboratively with other businesses. So we have some interesting emerging work looking at bioplastics. That's not just Unilever, but that's other chemical companies and other companies that use plastics in their products and so on. We have other work where we know we need to work with governments. So we do have debate through organisations like the EU Corporate Leaders Group on climate change with policymakers about how we can change the political and policy structures to incentivise low carbon innovation and so on. So all of these things happen together. It's important not to underestimate the role that progressive business can play in creating the political space for policymakers to act. And I think certainly this is something we're looking more at and see as a real priority going forward. I, of course, should add the immense importance of organisations like CSR Europe in progressing the debate at the European level. The European policy and institutional structures are very complex and hard for businesses to navigate, and I think there's a real role for organisations like CSR Europe to bring businesses together, help them understand how things happen and why they happen, and to help them identify the points where they can most helpfully intervene.